I'll fight to the very end!
Game over!
January always feels like a soft reset. Quieter nights, slower mornings, and a little more space to play just what you want to play. Not everything needs to be new, not everything needs to be finished. Sometimes it's just about following the mood. This month ended up being a mix of comfort and curiosity. Mostly familiar worlds I was happy to return to, and a few games I finally gave time to because I wasn't inundated with new releases. So today, I want to share the Switch games I played in January 2026, the games I kept reaching for, what pulled me towards each one, and how it felt to spend time in these worlds. Hey friends, I'm Autumn. Welcome back to Cozy Cartridges, where we talk about calm, nostalgic, and comforting games, especially when you can play them handheld. If that sounds like your vibe, grab your favorite snack or drink, get comfy, and let's dive in. January started with the 100 line Last Defense Academy, a game I've already dedicated a full video to, but it still deserves a place here. It set the tone for the month, and it was also a viewer pick, which made spending time with it feel extra intentional. The 100 line follows a group of students trapped inside a mysterious academy, tasked with defending it for 100 days against monstrous invaders, all for the sake of humanity. The story blends high stakes sci fi with psychological tension, peeling back secrets about the world, the school, and the characters themselves. Gameplay is a mix of tactical battles and visual novel style storytelling. I'd honestly classify it more as a visual novel with combat sprinkled in. Battles take place on grid-based maps where positioning, turn order, and ability timing matter, but it's really the downtime that defines the experience. The conversations, which, for me, sometimes dragged, the quiet in-between moments, and the slow build of character bonds. Despite the danger and high stakes, these routines are what made the game feel oddly cozy. And even though I've already covered it in depth, playing it was a reminder that comforting gaming doesn't always mean low stakes. Sometimes it's about settling into a rhythm, even in a world that feels constantly on edge. The next game I played was another one I recently covered in its own video, as well as on several live streams. The Path of Radiance became one of my January comfort games. There's something about returning to classic Fire Emblem that feels grounding, and it's incredible to discover this for the first time. Path of Radiance follows Ike, a mercenary son who gets swept into a continent spanning conflict involving warring nations, political betrayal, and the persecution of the Laguz. It's a grounded, character driven story that builds slowly, letting relationships and themes develop naturally. Classic turn based strategy with the series' infamous permadeath defines the experience here. Battles are methodical, readable, and deeply satisfying, especially compared to more modern entries that can feel mechanically dense or maybe a little too easy. What makes Path of Radiance cozy for me is its pace. Maps encourage patience, its soundtrack is warm and heroic, and the story unfolds without rushing you. It's the kind of game you can sink into night after night, chapter by chapter. After spending so much time with Path of Radiance, I found myself wanting a different kind of return, and again, moving backwards into another chapter of a familiar world. Sinking 100 hours into Octopath Traveler 0 made me want to play the original, as I'd only played the second game, and honestly, going back has been a joy. Octopath Traveler tells 8 separate character stories set across the world of Orstera. Each protagonist has their own motivations, struggles, and personal journey, and while the narratives are mostly self-contained, they collectively build a sense of place and shared history. Combat still feels excellent. The break and boost system adds just enough strategy to keep battles engaging without overwhelming you. Visually, the HD 2D style remains timeless. Warm pixel art paired with soft lighting and subtle depth. What really stood out this time was the comfort of familiarity. Seeing towns, hearing music I instantly recognize, and feeling grounded in a universe I already love. It's like returning to a favorite book. With the 3.0 update and the Switch 2 version, I decided this was the perfect excuse for a fresh start. You know, new year, new Switch, new island. I'm talking New Horizons. Animal Crossing doesn't tell a traditional story. Instead, it creates space for you to build your own story. You arrive on a deserted island and slowly build it into a home through routines, relationships, and small personal goals. And realistically, this probably isn't a game I'm sinking hundreds of hours into, the way many did during the pandemic years, but that's okay. What New Horizons does really well now is fit itself into short daily sessions. A little decorating, a few conversations, maybe one small goal, and then you're done. January evenings with Animal Crossing have felt especially cozy. Short sessions, familiar music, and the gentle satisfaction of watching an island slowly take shape. You know, while building snowmen. While Animal Crossing found its way back into my routine through an update to the last game, the next game I played was something entirely different. A brand new entry in the long running Legend of Heroes series. My physical copy arrived a little later than expected, so my time with Trails Beyond the Horizon is still early, but even those first impressions were meaningful. Side note, why does NIS never print enough physical copies of their games? And where on earth is the copy of Trails to Azure that I ordered through Video Games Plus? Anyway, Beyond the Horizon brings together familiar faces from across the Trail series, and it really does feel like a reunion for longtime fans, even though Van Arkwright and his crew remain at the heart of the story. This time around, the series starts lifting its gaze outward, pushing beyond continental conflicts and beginning to look toward the implications of space technology and what lies beyond Sumeria. The narrative leans heavily on shared history and long running arcs with a strong sense that everything you've experienced in the series still matters. I usually say there are plenty of good entry points for newcomers, but this time I would not recommend Beyond the Horizon as a starting place. Combat feels deeper and admittedly a little too bloated for my taste compared to earlier entries. There's a lot happening at once, and while it's impressive, I do hope future entries find ways to streamline things. One lingering concern for me is the continuation of the time travel mechanics from Daybreak 2. I'm cautiously optimistic they won't be here, but it's definitely something I'm keeping an eye on. Still, despite these concerns, the emotional pull of returning to this world was immediate. It feels less like starting a new game and more like coming home. January ended up being a month of reconnection, with series I love, worlds I know by heart, and the kind of games that are best played slowly. Let me know down in the comments below what games you've been playing to start in the new year. I always love hearing from you, and I always love your recommendations. I've still got a couple that are on my wish list. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications for weekly cozy gaming content. Until next time, may your Switch stay charged, your island stay cozy, and your adventures feel like coming home.